So welcome, guys. Thank you for being here on this Tuesday. A little bit different. We've just got to move a few things around this week, to be honest. That's why we're having the call on Tuesday, but it'll be back from Wednesday next week, as usual. Big talk on mindset this week. We're talking about the all or nothing mindset, how to break it once and for all. A big thing I talk to a lot of you guys about on a pretty regular basis, to be honest. It can feel like a hard thing to break. So I want to dive in and teach you guys how to overcome this really, because it really can be a thing that holds us back, whether we realize it or not sometimes. So it's about how to stop turning one imperfect choice into a completely failed day. So, first things first, you guys might recognize this pattern of behavior. And if you do, you're not alone. I guarantee you, everyone on this call or listening back to this will have probably experienced this at one point, myself included, to be honest. So, first things first, you have a great day, really on track with everything. You hit calories, get your steps in, you've gone to the gym, you've trained, done your work at home, whatever, and you drank your water. Then something happens. Let's say you get surprised with going out for a takeaway, which you didn't plan ahead for, or you go out for a restaurant. Something happens, and it just means that you eat more than planned. Suddenly, mindset wise, you start to spiral and you think, I've ruined the day. What's the point? I've completely ruined everything. I've ruined all my progress. You have another meal. After that, you then think, I'm ruined it again. So then maybe you have chocolate or something afterwards, and you kind of get into this spiral. And before you know it, you feel like you're completely out of control with the process. And then you just think, I'm going to start again Monday. If you recognize this cycle, it's a very common thing. I want to teach you how to break it today. So it's called the all or nothing cycle, the all or nothing way of thinking. So really, the pattern is you try to be perfect, you make a mistake or you slip up, you feel like it's a catastrophe, we catastrophize the situation, that then prompts us to give up, and then we're in this cycle of giving up and then starting and restarting and restarting and restarting all the time. But the problem is not the fact that you ate something bad, and I've got bad here in quote marks, we'll talk about, a bit more about that in a second. You're not failing because you ate something bad. The problem is that you're getting caught up in the reaction afterwards and you're letting your emotions dictate how you tackle the rest of the week. One decision becomes an entire off day, one off day becomes an off weekend, and then an off weekend suddenly becomes, I'm going to start again next week. And that's the pattern we really want to focus on breaking. So, the biggest mindset shift I want you guys to make on this call, you do not need to go from 100% to 0%. You don't need to go from balls to the wall, trying to give it everything, to then making a mistake and then just completely throwing the towel in and doing nothing. There is a middle ground which is going to serve you better. 100% is an absolutely perfect day. Like I said, you hit everything, you don't miss anything. 80% is a pretty good day. Maybe one or two things aren't quite perfect. Maybe you're a little bit under in your step count. Maybe you've not quite hit your calories. Maybe you've gone over or under slightly, but that's a pretty good day. 60% messy, but still making some good choices. A tough day, things have gone wrong, but you've held firm. 20% is, not your best day, but you're still doing something. What I need you guys to know is that giving 20% or 10% or 5% is still infinitely better than throwing in the towel and giving up completely. And that's what I want you guys to really learn on this call today. So, one meal is not going to be your problem. So, a scenario, a very common scenario, let's say, for example, you plan to have a takeaway tonight. Something happens, whether you're not able to order the thing you plan to order or you got swayed up in the evening and you go over your calories or something. You've got two choices. Option A is the I've ruined it mindset, which isn't going to serve you. That means you think, oh my God, I've gone over slightly, so I might as well just completely sabotage and go all in. You have extra dessert, more snacks, you stop tracking your food, you bury your head in the sand, you hide, and then you give up until Monday. That's option A. Option B is a different mindset, which is that wasn't planned, but that's okay. You enjoy it, you don't get too hung up on it, you carry on with your evening, you don't spiral and go forth and just undo more of your hard work. The next day, you get straight back to normal routine. You have a normal breakfast, you get back to your routine. It's the same takeaway and it is a completely different outcome. Out of those two, which person do you think is going to be more consistent and get a better result? It's going to be option B, right? And that's what you guys really need to learn. And on that, try to stop using the words good and bad so much in your journey as well. Food is not and does not need to be labelled good, bad, clean. Oh, the clean eating thing is a bit of a bugbear of mine. And when I hear people say they're trying to eat clean, that communicates to me that they're on a one-way ticket to having a binge later on. Because if you eat 100% clean all the time and not including your favourite stuff, it's just a one-way ticket to it being unsustainable. Yeah, good, bad, clean, naughty, or cheating as well. You'll notice that Adam and I have never once said the word cheat meal to you or said, oh, yeah, you can have a cheat meal. I think that that language encourages a potentially unhealthy relationship with food. Saying you need to cheat on your diet or by eating, going out on the weekend and having a burger or something, that's you cheating. It's absolutely not. What I need you to realize about food and the relationship I want you to try and foster with food is that some foods just simply contain more calories and are easier to overeat than others. There is no such thing as good food, there's no such thing as bad, there's no naughty, there's no cheats. You can still eat those foods. Those foods are not off limits. The goal is learning how to fit them into your life without losing control, essentially. So, your new rule that I want you guys to take forward is to never miss twice. If you've missed a workout, just get the next one in. If you overate at dinner, just have a normal breakfast tomorrow. If you didn't quite hit your steps, go for a walk tomorrow and make up for it. If you had a bad weekend, Monday isn't a total restart, it's just another Monday. One imperfect decision doesn't need a sequel and it doesn't need a spiral. And that's the mindset you guys really need to shed. And it's a mindset that a lot of us come into this process with absolutely thinking if we mess up once, that's it, we're done. And we tend to kind of catastrophize that situation. We need to reset our mindset with that. The people that you've seen we've helped, that have come before you in this program or are in the program right now and have just started before you guys, the people that have lost 30, 40, 50, like we've even helped some people lose 70, 75 kilos. These people came into this process with this mindset, but they have learned through trial and error, through getting help from us, and through trusting the process. They've learned to shed that mindset. And as a result, they have got that transformation. It's not that they never make mistakes. Of course, they make mistakes. We're all human. Everyone makes mistakes. It's just they've learned basically resilience and they've learned to bounce back from those mistakes and not let one mistake cause them to spiral and turn into a complete week like it. So I want you to start thinking about the next best decision. So when something goes wrong, stop asking yourself, how do I fix today? How do I fix it? I've made a mistake. How do I fix it? Instead, the mindset shift is, what is the next best decision I can make? Too often, I think we dwell on past mistakes, and I think we can be really hard on ourselves. Too often, we dwell on things that we've done wrong. And it's really easy to forget that actually, yeah, you might have done one thing wrong, but you're actually doing a lot of things right. You need to have that more abundant and positive mindset, really. So the switch is, what's the next best decision I can make? What has happened has happened. We can't change the past. So if you had too much at lunch, for example, have a normal dinner and carry on. If you missed a workout, just do the next scheduled session. Don't feel like you suddenly have to cram 2 or 3 sessions into one day. You are much better off just going to the next workout, full sending that and giving it your best effort rather than feeling like, oh my God, I have to cram them all in one. Just do the next one. If you've had a takeaway, enjoy it, move on. If the scales are up, you guys know it's going to be water retention, it's not going to be fat gain. You don't need to undo the past. You just need to do the make decision. Sorry, you just need to make the next decision better. Another thing as well, and another mindset to rewire is to not punish yourself. There's absolutely no reason to punish yourself in this process or to come at this process with incredible amounts of pressure or stress. You'll notice that we're not putting unnecessary pressure on you guys. We're actually trying to make this as easy for you as possible. So get out of the habit of just berating yourself and punishing yourself. The all or nothing mindset creates punishment. So when we think in that black and white sort of way of thinking, things like starving yourself the next day, skipping meals, excessive cardio, cutting your calories aggressively, the all or nothing mindset can create those habits which are not helpful. It just creates a cycle that you get stuck in, which is unsustainable, and lo and behold, you can't make progress with because you overeat, you feel guilty, you overly restrict, you then get crazy hungry in a couple of days' time because, of course, and then you just overeat again. And you are just stuck in that cycle, and it is frustrating, it is painful, you feel low, you feel crap about yourself. Instead, you don't want to punish yourself. You just want to think, you know what? Say la vie, it's happened. You've overeaten, normalize it, learn from it, carry on. That's the key difference. Your goal is not to have perfect weeks. I always say this to you guys, consistency over perfection. I never expect perfection from you guys, neither does Adam. Adam and I are never perfect, so you guys don't have to be either. Two different people over a 12-week period. Person A, perfect for 3 weeks. Ultimately, the perfection feels unsustainable. Something goes wrong. They fall off for 2 whole weeks. They feel guilty and then they start again and then fall off again and they're stuck in that cycle. Person B has messy days every week. At least one mistake happens per week, but is resilient and keeps coming back straight away. Who do you think is going to make more process and more progress? I'll spoil it for you. It's going to be person B. Absolutely. So expect life to get in the way as well. A big thing you hear from people who's been like, oh, I want to start my fitness journey, but I don't feel ready. Or I want to start XYZ, but I don't feel ready. Ready is not a feeling, and ready is not an emotion, and ready isn't something that you ever really feel. You just decide to be ready. You decide when you are ready, and you just have to make that conscious choice. You're never going to feel ready for stuff. The same as in this process. Some of you guys, I'm sure lots of you guys actually started this process, maybe feeling like, oh, I'm not fully ready. You're never going to be. And there's never going to be a perfect time for anything either. There's always going to be birthdays, holidays, stressful days at work, stressful nights with the kids where they don't sleep, meals out, bad night's sleep, getting your period, busy weeks, unexpected plans. This stuff is always going to happen no matter what. They're not interruptions and they are not things to fear or view as reasons why you can't make progress. They're actually a part of your transformation. Your plan needs to work around real life. And what you guys will learn by being here is how to be resilient in those times and how to keep the structure going and keep the consistency going so that you're not perfect, but you are consistent and you learn to remain consistent and to not give up at the first hurdle. So, your minimum standard, instead of having only a perfect day, I want you to create a minimum day. You guys might have heard me talking about the floor and the ceiling metaphor before. So the ceiling in this metaphor is your absolute perfect day where nothing goes wrong. You have all the time in the world. You tick everything off on your list in terms of this process. If your ceiling is absolute perfection, getting everything done, the floor is something you want to resort to when things are really busy, when things are hectic, when things are tough. So when life gets really chaotic, what are the minimum things you'll still do? And I want you to always think of two or three things. So for example, they can be hitting your protein. Even if your macros aren't perfect and your food's not perfectly logged, maybe it's hitting your protein. Maybe it's just staying within a reasonable calorie range, not going too far over. Maybe it's 5,000 steps instead of your usual 8,000. Maybe it's making sure you drink all your water because you can do that no matter how busy a day is. Maybe it's doing 10 minutes of movement rather than your full session. I want you guys to pick two or three things that no matter how crazy life gets, you commit to getting those done. That's your floor. And it might not be your best day, but you still stayed in the game. That's what drives the transformation and that's what drives results rather than I must be perfect all of the time. That's your floor versus your ceiling. So have your ceiling, shoot for your ceiling as much as possible. We're not just going to get complacent and think, oh well, I'll just always get the bare minimum done. Of course not. You want to aim for your ceiling when things are doable and it's sustainable. But when things are really tough and you're struggling, resort to the floor. Use your floor. Reframe your language as well. Your language shapes your behavior, and how we talk to ourselves on a regular basis shapes how we view ourselves, it shapes how we view the world, and it shapes our actions. And it's very, very important. So change the language that you're using. Instead of, I've completely ruined it, you switch that to, that wasn't planned, but I will move on and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. Instead of, oh, I'm completely back to square one. You're not, you never are. The difference is one meal off plan or one missed workout doesn't erase all of my progress. Instead of saying, I'm going to start Monday, come out of that cycle, come out of that trap, and think, my next decision starts now. If it's Friday and you've made a mistake, do not say, I'm going to start Monday. Think, what can I do tomorrow to get back on track? Your language shapes your behavior. And the things that we say is often what becomes reality for us. So, what to do when you're really busy going forwards? Think of the last time that you feel like you fell off. And I'm saying fell off in quotation marks because we very rarely fall off. Yes, we make mistakes, but again, that's a language thing going, oh my God, I've completely fallen off the wagon. It's like, well, you haven't most of the time. Ask yourself what actually happened. Then ask yourself, what did I tell myself afterwards? So think about a time where you feel like you fell off. What happened? What did you say to yourself afterwards? Did you berate yourself? Did you punish yourself? Did you tell yourself that you've ruined everything and you can't do this? Finally, what could you have done differently? If that's you, if you were someone that was really berating yourself and saying to yourself, oh my God, I can't believe I've ruined everything, that's the switch. That's the thing you need to do differently. And then physically within the plan, like what's the thing you need to do differently as well? Usually, the biggest problem isn't the original decision, it is what follows afterwards. It's not the mistake, it's not the weekend off plan that undoes progress. It's the response to it afterwards and delaying getting back to routine that actually does impact our results. And that's the big thing I want you guys to know today. So, your new rules that I want you all to follow from now on, one meal doesn't become a day. One meal off plan doesn't become a day off plan. One day off plan doesn't become a weekend off plan. One bad week doesn't become a month. You don't always need to compensate. You always return to the plan. Sometimes we just deep it too much. Sometimes we just overthink things. We get in our feelings and we think, oh my God, I've made one mistake and I've ruined everything and my whole life's over. Sometimes we actually just need to zoom out, not be so emotional about it as much as we can, not deep it, and just think, I've made a mistake. I haven't ruined everything. I've just got to get back on it as soon as I can. That resilient and building that resilience is the thing that's going to drive the transformation for you guys. And that's the big thing that all the people that have got an amazing transformation before you have in common. So going forwards, you don't need to become someone who never messes up. That's never going to happen. I've been doing this for 7, 8 years and I still mess up sometimes. You need to just become someone who messes up, acknowledges that, learns from it, makes the adjustment, and carries on. That's what drives the success. And ultimately, that's how you lose weight and that's how you keep it off. It's resilience and it's consistency. That is everything I wanted to go through this week with you guys. Um, if there's one thing that I want you guys to take away from this call, it is that failing and making mistakes isn't actually a bad thing. Failure is actually a good thing. When I think back to like big moments in my life, like big failures that I've had, they've actually ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me. For example, when I was an actor, and I didn't work, and I was actually really miserable being an actor, and I was at a massive crossroads, feeling so lost, feeling upset and confused, and like I have no idea what I'm doing, I don't know what to do, and I feel like I've just failed a career I've trained for 4 years. Pivoting into personal training was my answer to that. And looking back, at the time, I felt like I failed. I felt like it was a big failure and I felt like I'd ruined everything. And, that catastrophizing had kicked in and I thought, oh my God, my life's over. But actually, failing at acting was the best thing that's ever happened to me because now I have patient fitness and I run it with Adam and we run it together and it is our absolute passion and it is the best thing, one of the best things in our lives. And we've found a career that makes us feel fulfilled. And we have a community full of amazing people such as you guys. If I hadn't have embraced the failure, adapted and redirected, I would not be doing this. And that is crazy to think. And the same goes for things in my own fitness journey as well. Like my biggest failures have ended up being my biggest lessons. And I've learned from that. I've ended up being a really positive experience. If there's one thing that I want you guys to learn, it's that failing actually can be a good thing. It teaches us a lot about ourselves. And we can't expect ourselves to just smash it the whole way through and just breeze the whole way through and never struggle. If this was easy, everyone would do it. It's hard and it is hard. But failing and making mistakes isn't actually inherently a bad thing. It can be a good thing. The only thing that is bad that comes from it is if you let it cause you to spiral and go into that all or nothing thinking. So I hope this has been helpful, guys. As always, any questions, message me, let me know. But if you're someone listening to this and this really hits home, maybe rewatch this. Maybe rewatch this at a later date because this stuff is really important. So have a good evening, guys. I will catch up with you all soon. And it's great to see so many of you here.